Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a Pope's Exorcist movie review. The Pope's Exorcist is the newest exorcism movie that has Russell Crowe, and it just released. I went to see it, and I'm here to talk about it. If you are just here for the quick before you get into the nitty gritty, it's a perfectly fine movie. I'd say it's worth seeing in theaters or at home if you are looking for something to do. It was perfectly fine. But now let's talk about some of the specifics, and I am going to say this is spoiler light. I'm not going to reveal too much. I do feel like it'd be hard for me to reveal anything, but I'm not also going to go out of my way to keep everything ambiguous. You'll kind of figure out some things, right? So, The Pope's Exorcist has Russell Crowe playing Father Gabriel Lamoth, who was apparently a real exorcist under the Pope. And that's why it's The Pope's Exorcist. Roll the credits. Also, I don't want to get sued, so that's why you see the background footage that you do instead of clips from the movie. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah. That's really all you need to know about the movie if you want to possibly go see it. And if you are looking at this, honestly, that's pretty much all you need to know in general. But there are other characters. For example, at one point we are going to see a family that I'll admit, if you want to call me biased and knock whatever score I give this down by like a point, go ahead. But like, there was a family in which I felt I could relate to as the older sibling with a single mother and a younger sibling you can swear is possessed by a demon. So I related to that, and those reactions felt pretty natural when I was at that age, right? Um, Minus smoking. I didn't, including smoking. um, not don't. We're not going to talk about that too much. Don't smoke, kids. But either way, going forward, they have this situation in which the mom drags the children to this old chapel because that's what their father had for some odd reason, and he's gone in a way. I think that's a spoiler, so he's no longer there. Um, in the world, I guess. And that messed with the kids. And it messed with one of them particularly terribly because of reasons that they will explain. So that's pretty much your characters. There's also another priest dude who's there helping out Gabriel with this exorcism, who he's a fine character. Yeah, I'm just going to give you thoughts of the movie without looking at anything, so you can have a like this is what somebody's initial reaction would is. Because like I could probably dig up some stuff and then I'll go, oh, that makes more sense and give it a higher score. But I'm just going to give it to you this. So if I forget a character's name or don't mention characters' names, that's why you're just getting this review that way. So the other priest dude that's with our main character Russell Crowe, it's chill. There's some interesting character development between pretty much everybody here, which is something that's pretty refreshing. I know that's something that us horror fans definitely don't see a lot of in movies. If somebody is the dumb character, they're the dumb character until they are gone. And if they are the smart character, they're gone quick because they're too smart, things like that. So there is actual character development in this movie, which was pleasantly surprising. And since I'm talking about this for us horror fans, um, or people just looking for some light horror, I wouldn't say that this is going to be the horror movie some people might hope it is. It's not going to be very like The Exorcist. It's not going to go crazy and anything like that. There are creepy scenes, there's some freaky scenes, but if you're actually hoping to be genuinely scared, I don't know. You probably won't be, but that could also be my own reflection. Just don't bank on it too much. It could have definitely used some more like jump scares and things like that if we wanted to delve into being horror. But as far as it being a movie to watch, I say it is. I know a lot of people have been giving it crap because, oh, once you see an exorcism movie, they're all the same and yada yada yada. Okay, sure, if you've seen all of them, yeah, I mean, that goes for any genre, right? Like, if you've seen one monster movie, you've seen them all. The monster does things, right? I don't think that's a fair thing to say when reviewing a movie like this. There's nothing wrong. It's actually a perfectly fine movie through and throughout. I do still have some critiques of it. Like, towards the end, it gets very, I think I would call it Michael Bay. And you might be wondering what I mean by that. Like, without giving too much away, it gets very over the top at like one particular point of the movie, which isn't bad in the grand scheme of things. It was still very like, oh, things are happening. Whoa, things are, alarms are setting off. But it was also, it did feel like it took away from the movie slightly. I'm not going to say that it enhanced the movie too much, but I also don't want you to think that the movie is just a dumpster fire because it happened. I think that it could have done without it, but I don't hate that it was there, you know? And then the other thing with this movie is that people were ragging and like, oh, he's going to be the cool exorcist, and oh, he's going to be so cool, and that's going to be boring and bland because he's, oh, I'm so cool. He was genuinely funny. There were great lines, and throughout the film, truly was a good performance by Russell Crowe, a performance by everybody involved. I know that might get some flack in terms of like one or two characters, but I think they did okay enough. You know, Russell's performance was great, and I think everybody else did okay enough. It didn't completely throw me out because at the end of the day, in an exorcism movie, I want the exorcist and the thing being exorcised, right? I don't, anybody else is irrelevant, and all the like background players play their part in the background, so that's what I'm okay with. I know I've talked about the family. Surprisingly, on a good thing, on a good note, they aren't nearly as prevalent as you might think in this movie. When the opening rolled out, I was like, oh no, we're going to be following this family, and that's going to be what this is. And oh my gosh, they're going to be so scared, and scary things are going to happen to them the entire movie while the exorcist is trying to exorcise in the background. No, pleasantly surprised. The Pope's exorcist is the key player in this entire movie. Things are happening, things are spooky. Yes, things happen to the family, but you are not taken out of everything by having them there. They do serve as a nice plot device as to why they're there at the moment, but hey, everything considered, I don't think I would have changed anything, which is something very rare when it comes to how many players are in the movie when it comes to like my reviews and when I go to watch the movies. Everybody was fine. I don't regret anybody being in there. I don't think anybody being taken out would have been awful. And then there's also the difference of decision making, right? Like I felt that a lot of the decisions made looking back at it were sound. You know, I think that you can get behind a lot of the rationale if you think about it in their shoes for like 30 seconds. I guess here's a spoiler alert, but this is also a duh. The mom, when first posed with a situation, is like, okay, we gotta figure this out with science. Boom, as they all do. And then, oh no, science didn't work. What do you mean? And then, boom, Pope's Exorcist, and it's just like, well, okay, I got nothing else. Nothing else is helping. Might as well. I think like everybody made real decisions given their portrayed age, given their relation to the characters to one another. You know, things like that. Everything. felt like it could be a legit decision. I'll give another example that for a second I was like, that's not realistic. And then I remembered myself at that age, which is why some bias might come in right here, right? The older sibling, things are happening, and instead of immediately running to cry to mom, tries to investigate a little bit to figure out what's going on because I know, like, being the older sibling in that situation, you're probably going to have to figure out what's wrong yourself first before you take it to mom. Like that's probably what's going to happen. So at first I was like, why didn't she just immediately run to her mom? And it's like, no, I've been there. You're just like, well, I'm gonna have to figure it out anyway. So let's see what it is. Things like that. Everything, if you take a minute to think about it, felt connected. Then the setting of every place, every where everything occurs, was also an enhancement for somebody that is only fluent in English. When you take it to, oh, there's Italian in here and like translations and things are being said only in Italian, and then some parts are only in Latin. I took Latin in elementary because they made us for whatever reason, right? And I will say it's pretty funny to see the name Sextus come up outside of an Ecce Romani book for whatever reason. I guess that was a common name. But hey, that aside, the introduction of language to drive the story was very good for somebody that only speaks English. I think it enhances the movie. I don't know if you are watching this and you also speak Italian and or Latin. You might be like, no, that's kind of stupid. But they are also, right, talking about the Vatican and, things like that. So, hey, I think that was very good plot overall. The scares were okay for the ones that were there. Plot was okay. Everybody just seemed to like really hate on this movie, and I really didn't know why. Like everybody was like, "Oh, if you've seen one exorcism movie, you've seen them all." This one felt better. This was a good fun watch. I shouldn't say probably. There's a possibility I rewatch this again sometime in the future, which is more than I give most movies nowadays, if I'm being honest. Like usually I put them in the background for the first watch through and whatever, right? But like this was actually a solid movie. Russell Crowe did great. People were like, "Oh, he carried the movie." It's almost like he is playing the main character. So did you just ask if the main character carried the movie? Duh. Like I don't know. Don't listen to all of the people that are trying to like write this off terribly. It's a fine movie. If you're thinking about watching it, go watch it. And if you're thinking about waiting until it comes to a streaming service somehow, some way, do it then. I just say, don't write it off for all the other hate that you see online. Yeah, if you've seen The Pope's Exorcist, let me know. Let me know what you thought about it down below. Try not to give any spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it. And yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time. Peace out, my monstrosities.